Welcome to Cruise News, your daily update on everything happening at sea. Visit cruisenews.io to see today's stories and sign up for email alerts.
And today we are reviewing a mix of unusual long-form cruising announcements, some aggressive booking incentives, and really a strong focus on future Europe itinerary planning.
Right, we are looking at a stack of recent reports covering Semester at Sea, Ponant Explorations, and Uniworld Boutique River Cruises. And the common thread across all these sources is a shift toward destination immersion.
Yeah, the industry is moving away from quick 8-hour port stops. They are leaning heavily into multi-day stays and integrated land exploration. And from a business perspective, they are pushing consumers to book these trips years in advance.
Exactly. So let's start with the Semester at Sea program, which is probably the most extreme example of this immersion trend. As of July 1st, 2026, they opened applications for their fall 2027 World Voyage.
It is a massive undertaking. The journey is 104 days aboard the World Odyssey.
104 days.
Right, departing on September 9th, 2027 from Ijmuiden in the Netherlands. It spans 4 continents and 2 oceans, and it finally concludes in Thailand in late December.
And this is actually their 140th voyage, which is a pretty significant milestone. The program history dates back to 1963, though it was inspired by a 1926 floating university concept. And it's not just for university students. The source notes it is open to students and what they call lifelong learners.
Yeah, and looking at the routing, the port calls are heavily extended. They're mostly doing 6-day stays.
Which is very unusual for a standard cruise.
It is. Cape Town, South Africa, for instance, gets a massive 7-day stay. And Singapore is returning to the itinerary specifically to offer a major green city experience. Other destinations on the road include Portugal, Morocco, Brazil, St. Helena, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and Hong Kong.
Now, with a 7-day stay in a single port like Cape Town, it almost functions more like a short-term lease than a traditional port call.
Well, the sources describe this as a beyond tourism concept. The passengers are engaging with community leaders, environmental experts, and historical sites. The Institute for Shipboard Education manages the program, and Colorado State University has been the academic sponsor since 2016.
So the ship really operates as a floating campus.
Exactly. The sea days are utilized for academic coursework tied directly to the regions they're visiting, and then the long port stays act as the lab work for that curriculum.
Right. Now, regarding the ship itself, the World Odyssey, there is an interesting detail in the report. It was originally built as the Deutschland for Peter Dahlmann.
Yes.
And while it usually spends its summer seasons chartered to Phoenix Rising, that contract isn't being renewed past 2026.
Which means its summer 2027 deployment wasn't disclosed in these announcements. It is completely unknown right now.
Shifting gears from a global circumnavigation, let's look at a highly concentrated regional approach. Marseille-based Ponant Explorations just opened bookings for over 150 sailings.
150, it's a huge release.
Stretching from October 2027 through November 2028.
And their Mediterranean program alone, which runs from March to November 2028, includes over 80 cruises. They're covering the Adriatic, Aegean, and Tyrrhenian seas, along with Corsica, Malta, Sicily, and the Iberian Peninsula.
Embarkations are out of major hubs: Athens, Nice, Valletta, Dubrovnik, and Venice. But the crucial differentiator noted in the release is that every single guest gets one shore excursion included in every single port of call.
Right, which applies to both their Mediterranean and Atlantic sailings.
Now, with 150 itineraries and included excursions for every passenger at every stop, there is a logistical question regarding footprint, especially in smaller Mediterranean ports.
The reporting indicates Ponant is actively combining major gateway cities with lesser visited ports to distribute that footprint. They are trying to avoid overwhelming single destinations.
Which makes sense. And their Atlantic program, running October 2027 to October 2028, covers the Canaries, Madeira, Cape Verde, the Azores, and the coasts of Portugal, Spain, and France.
And we should highlight Le Ponant here. That is their 32-guest sailing yacht.
Right, a very small vessel.
Extremely small. It is scheduled for 4 Cape Verde cruises in late 2027, and then 2 Azores itineraries in July 2028 that focus on whale watching and volcanic landscapes.
They are also offering several themed voyages. The report lists 14 Kid Explorer sailings with workshops for ages 4 to 13. Plus, they have collaborations with Smithsonian Journeys, Ducasse Paris, Club des Chefs, and the Opera Nationale de Paris.
There's also a Lisbon to Bordeaux wine voyage in May 2028 that includes private visits to Prunier and Chateau Latour.
And they are covering Northern Europe from February to August 2028. That includes the British Isles, the Scottish Hebrides, Orkney Islands, the Baltic Sea, Faroe Islands, and the Norwegian fjords.
They explicitly mention Geringesjord, as well as port calls in Bergen's Briggen district, Stockholm, Copenhagen, Helsinki, Tallinn, Visby, and several historic Hanseatic ports.
Yes, but looking closely at the Ponant announcement, one specific detail was missing. They did not list the starting fares for any of these newly opened sailings.
Which is a common strategy in the industry right now. They announced the grand scope of the itineraries early to build market interest before actually revealing the pricing structure.
Right, establish the demand first. And that strategy of securing early commitment brings us to Uniworld Boutique River Cruises. They just announced a complimentary land offer for new bookings.
But there is a strict deadline of August 31st.
Exactly. The promotion adds a free pre- or post-cruise hotel stay to select 2027 Europe River Cruises. It applies to 6 specific itineraries.
Those roads cover the Douro, which gives access to Europe's oldest wine regions, the Danube combining capital cities with smaller destinations, and the Venice region.
Specifically the routes Portugal, Spain, and the Douro, Slovenia, Venice, and the Jewels of Veneto, delightful Danube and Prague, Danube Grandeur in Prague, Vienna and capital cities of the Danube, and vineyards and palaces along the Danube and Prague.
But again, there are several missing details in this promotion. Uniworld didn't name the specific hotels. They didn't state the number of nights included. They didn't provide specific departure dates. And just like Ponant, they didn't include starting fares.
It is essentially telling consumers to lock in a 2027 vacation today for a hotel benefit that hasn't been fully defined yet.
Well, to contextualize this, you have to look at Uniworld's corporate situation. They are undergoing a massive expansion. They are adding 4 new ships next year, including vessels named the Audrey and the Marlene.
Which requires significant capital.
Exactly. Uniworld has operated since 1976 and was part of the Travel Corporation, or TTC, since 2004. But just recently, in July 2024, TTC was acquired by Apollo Global Management.
So private equity is involved now.
Yes. With Apollo taking over, aggressive promotions like this are designed to drive upfront cash flow. Locking in travelers years in advance with early deposits helps fund rapid growth and fleet expansion today.
And they aren't the only brand doing this. The sources show a wave of deadline-based incentives across the market. Norwegian has a semi-annual sale with 50% off and free gratuities for balcony cabins and above.
Costa is offering up to a $500 cabin credit and 30% off their My Drinks package, but that requires booking by August 9th.
Seabourn has an Exploration Awaits event offering up to 15% off and reduced deposits stretching into early 2029. And Star Clippers is offering 2 shore excursions and a 3-gigabyte Wi-Fi package for early 2028 sailings.
It really demonstrates how the financial timeline of the travel industry is stretching further into the future.
So to summarize today's reports, whether it is a 104-day voyage on a floating campus, a 32-person yacht in the Azores, or a river cruise on the Danube with an unlisted hotel stay, the industry focus is on extended time in the destination.
And crucially, securing those bookings 2 to 3 years in advance.
Right. It leaves travelers with an interesting choice for their 2027 planning. The market is presenting 2 very different philosophies.
You can opt for macro travel circumnavigating the globe to see 4 continents, or micro travel, spending that same amount of time exploring a very specific region, like the hidden harbors of the Mediterranean. Both require committing far earlier than consumers have historically been used to.
Thanks for listening to Cruise News. Visit cruisenews.io to catch up on the latest updates and sign up for free email alerts.